Okay, so here we go again. I streamed yesterday and I'm streaming again today, and it's gonna be about synthesis, of course, because I love doing synthesis. I love doing nerdy stuff, and as usual, you can't see me right away, but you will be able to see me in little. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm just gonna switch it over, and now let's run the intro vid first. And there we go. I think, yeah. Okay, so there we are. I'm right here. Hello and welcome to attaQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host, and you're watching a attaQ live episode. This is episode 12. I did number 2 there, but it's actually number 12, and it seems to be going well. I seem to be more, what do you say, like comfortable doing this. Yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable doing this now. So, what was I thinking? Well, I wasn't really thinking anything. Today we're going to do envelope, not envelope, we're going to do synthesis and sound design, and talk about envelopes and LFO and how to use them for making modulations and using them to modulate stuff inside synthesizers. I absolutely love working with it sounds so weird to say, because if you're working with a synthesizer, of course you're gonna be working with LFOs and envelopes at some point, but actually understanding them, how they behave, I mean, they're fairly straightforward to understand once you start tweaking filters and stuff. And the reason why I'm using Waldorf Nave right now is because it's so visible what we're doing. So if I pull the attaQ here, we can see that slope actually happening with the attaQ. Same with the release. Now, I was looking for another synthesizer that might have had like a hold function. I mean, there are several types of envelopes out there on synthesizers. Like, for instance, I once built a synthesizer. I should have put a picture into OBS so I could have shown it to you. It was like it's a project called Music from Outer Space. So there's this person who designed a lot of hardware synths, like modulars and stuff that you could build yourself. So it was basically DIY, and the one I built was called the Sound Lab. I don't have it anymore. It's now owned by another musician, but it but it only had an an AD. So basically the envelope were only consisting of an attaQ and either a decay or a release. I think it was a release. Then there are like ADHSR, so it's an attaQ, decay, hold, sustain, release. They all work differently, but most synthesizers has this ADSR, attaQ, decay, sustain, release, and that's basically all you need to properly make and build a sound with the kind of length and release and attaQ you want. And it's so useful when doing modulations. And I use, like, ADSRs, when I do modulations, I use them to do like minute changes to something. I mean, you can use an LFO, but an LFO goes up and down in values. That's all it does. While the envelope has a time for the attaQ, so that's one distance that the value has to travel, and then it also increases. But before going down, as with an LFO, we have the decay, so we can have a slope that goes down a bit. So if I pull down the sustain, we have like this, and then the sustain is like a hold value that the value will travel on, and then the release when it actually fades out. So it's so different from an LFO when you think about modulations, and that's why I like the envelope so much. The LFOs, I usually just use them for like filter tweaks and stuff like that. So And that's where was I going with this? I was looking for something and I can't remember what it was. It was, oh, the wiping cloth, of course. I have to have the wiping cloth. And so hello everyone in the chat room, and hello everyone who has joined up to watch this live stream. Now, I thought I would do some synthesis and basically show you my workflow, the way I think about when I want to use an LFO and when I want to use an envelope. And one situation for using envelopes, let's start easy. So we've got a basic tone here. So I basically just initialized Waldorf Nave, and this is so nice because Waldorf Nave has this initialize button, so you can make an initialized preset, which is the best way to get to know a synthesizer. Because if you start tweaking something that someone else has made, then you're not really sure what you're doing, or if you're a noob or a beginner, then you're not sure if whatever happens with the sound is something that you've done or something that someone else has done. So the initialized presets are really, really healthy. So moving on with the initialized preset, I thought we would, I love doing pads. I've got this in the description. I've got a series of links to videos and stuff. I even wrote them down so I would remember. I've got like playlists of Propellerhead's Thor tutorials. I'm gonna show Propellerhead's Thor later on. And I've also got a playlist for Nave. And that playlist basically contains a series of videos in where I'm making a pad sound. And I thought, hey, pad sounds are nice and they're fun. So we're gonna do a pad sound. So we're gonna go to the wave player here. That's basically what Nave is. It's a wave shaper synthesizer thing. So it plays waves. Yeah. And the first thing we're going to do is to pull on the wave knob here. Now I want to modulate this and animate that so that we have this movement of the sound. The only thing lacking in Nave is that I think that as soon as you start modulating it, you can't see that move. I can't remember now. Maybe they've updated it. I'm hoping they have, because it would be nice seeing that animation. So let's do this. We go to the mod and keys. No, you. Now I'm speaking Swedish. Yes, we are going to use the mod and keys. The first thing we're going to do is to actually assign an LFO to move that wave knob. So we're going to go to the matrix here, and this is one thing I love about Waldorf, Nave, and also Propellerhead's Thor is this matrix system with drop-down lists. I absolutely despise working with cabling, so cabling modulars with virtual cabling or hardware cabling just goes out of the window. I don't want to do that anymore. But this drop-down lists, I'm fine with that. So in the source, we're going to use LFO1, and I'm doing this just to prove my point. Now I do realize that a lot of you already know this in the stream, but maybe some of you watching now don't know. So let's go with this. So we have the LFO. Let's see. Am I in the right? Yeah. Okay. I put the LFO in the source, and then in the destination, we're gonna send it to the wave. Where is it? The wave position. Is it the position? It's the position. What did I do there? Come on. Wave position. There we go. And nothing is happening. That's because we haven't set a strength for our signal, and we need to do that. So we're going to pull it up. And so this lever, this fader is basically for setting the value to move in either positive or negative values. And not much is happening because the speed needs to be increased. And also we need to turn on this. Okay, there we go. Sounds pretty nice. And we can hear that as soon as I pull it down, it moves, but it moves in the other direction. And so, I mean, this is all nice, but doing this with an envelope instead gives you more control of how that movement of the wave position will happen. And so that's why I like the LFO. So we're gonna switch the LFO. I'm talking about the envelope. That's why I like using envelopes. So we're gonna switch the LFO to an envelope, and I'm gonna use the free envelope here. And if we go to this, then we can see that it's this one. I'm gonna pull down on everything and just reset everything. So this is, nothing is happening. It's got no attaQ. It's just gonna start. Nothing is happening. Let's go in here and make sure that we have a strength to this signal. Go back here. Okay, so we want a longer attaQ. But we want this to be an evolving thing since it is a pad. So let's pull it up like a long way. And that's pretty nice. Now it's gonna hit the next step in the envelope. It's gonna rise and hit the next step of the envelope, which is the sustain. And the sustain is just right now at the highest level. So it's gonna pull the wave shaper knob to whatever position that might be now, depending on the strength we just added in here, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down on the sustain, and it's so clear what happens when we do this, because it's going to travel very slowly up this slope. It's not really a slope. Well, it is just like the envelope in Nave. I can't remember now. I haven't used this in some time, but is there? Yeah, of course. There should be a way of... Oh, that's right. Okay, so what I was thinking of is that the attaQ is shaped very straightly like that. But maybe we want a logarithmic curve. The problem is we can't do that with the free envelope. But we can do that with the filter envelope. So we have a linear curve and the exponential curve. And I would like to use the exponential curve. And can you see that? That shape right there? That's a very cool shape. And the linear curve is straight. And then we have this one. It's a logarithmic curve like that. And I would like to use this one instead. So let's use the filter envelope to modulate that wave shaping knob, wave position knob on oscillator 1 or wave play 1, whatever you might call it. So we're going to switch the free envelope to the filter envelope. And now we have even more control over the way that the wave shaped knob will behave. You hear that? It like goes slowly to that slope and then it just rises up like that. And if we pull down the sustain, it's going to do that, and then it's just going to drop off and hit that sustained bottom. And that's not a nice sound. And then we get to do some stuff with the decay. And let's add some release to this. And we can't hear anything because we also, when we do that, we also have to add release to the sound itself in the amplifier envelope. So let's add a little bit of release, and let's also soften the attaQ a little bit, and also make that one shaped like that. And now we can hear that final slope on the wave shaper knob. The cool thing is that we can actually loop this. So there's another function inside this envelope. Not every synthesizer has this. There's actually a lot that doesn't, but it's a nice function, and we want this to keep on looping, so when it hits the end it just goes back and restarts the cycle. So let's do it like that, and here we have a cycling of this thing. Which is very, very nice. So now we have a big movement in here. Only the thing is, it's a bit too strong. So we're gonna go into the mod keys and then pull down on the signal. And we can get like deeper into this. And this is where I start, when I already have like one thing that I'm using to modulate everything else, I keep on using that to try out things with other parameters. So I'm gonna add the filter envelope, turn that on, and pull up here on this lever, fader. I saw you talking about that. It's a fader. Wait, you're saying it's a slider? Are you saying it's a slider, or is it a fader? I'm gonna say a fader. Yeah, it's a fader. So I'm gonna send this one, and it already says wavetable 1 position, and we're gonna change that to the travel. And the travel, let's see here, the travel is right there. So it's this one, and it's gonna move this knob up. Wait, I'm gonna do it like that. Let's pull it down a little bit. And now we're starting to get some, like it's getting a bit unpredictable, which is very nice. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to affect, using that envelope, I'm going to try to affect the spectrum right here, only we're going to do it in reverse. So we're going to go and send that filter envelope, turn that on, and pull down on the fader, and we're going to send that to the, what's it called, the spectrum one. Yeah, the spectrum one on wavetable 1. And of course we're gonna do this. Not much is happening, so let's add a little bit more. That's pretty nice. Now the cool thing in Nave is that you don't really have to go into the mod key section. You can actually just assign stuff directly to the wave position using this list right here. So we could have just chosen the filter envelope, turned that on, and then upped the amount a bit, and it would have worked the same way. But I like working from the modulation matrix and have nothing else in this window because I'm old-fashioned, I guess. By the way, I'm drinking my most favorite drink. This is apple juice. It's very organic, and it almost tastes like if you take an apple directly from the tree when it's like really ripe, and then you squish it with all your force, like just like that, with that look on your face, and you get a glass of this, and it doesn't look like it. I almost said it doesn't look like pee. I don't know why would I say that, but it tastes absolutely amazing. It doesn't taste like pee either. I just realized that saying that makes it sound like as if I knew what pee actually tasted like. By the way, have you seen my fish? My bass fish? It's lovely. I love it. Look at him. Look at him go. Okay, so we're gonna go back to this now. So we have a really nice modulating session going on here. And I can see that more people are joining up the stream in the chat room, so welcome everyone. I really like that soft overtone. By the way, tell me if you think that maybe the volume is too low. I just wanted to keep it at a pleasant level so that I don't kill your ears. I'm still betting that the sound in my headphones are way louder than you're getting, so that's why I have to ask. So this sounds nice and all, but let's throw in some more modulation, and we're gonna keep on working with just one wave operator, wave player, wave shaper, whatever you might call this. That's what I call it. So let's go to the modulation and keys. No, let's go to the filter envelope. See, we filter and envelope. We have more envelopes here. We still have the free envelope. And we can use that one. So let's give it a little bit of a shape. And let's affect something else here. So let's have a look at the wave player right here. So we have this called brilliance, and we have this called noisy. So let's do something with that. I think you can do that. So let's choose the where is it? The free envelope. Turn that on. Pull up the value a bit, and then send that to W noisy. So now we're using the free envelope to modulate this knob up here. It sounds pretty cool. So what does the brilliance knob do? Let's keep it like that. It actually sounds pretty good. Let's add another wavetable thing. And let's remove this one. That's what I always do. I always pull down the volume on the first oscillator or anything I'm working with inside the synthesizer if I can, so that I can work individually with the other one. Because usually if I work with a synthesizer that has multiple oscillators and ways of actually putting routing the filters individually parallel in serial mode, if I can tweak the sounds or oscillators beside one another, I do that. So I usually have this vision of a sound I want to create, and then I'm thinking what part of that sound would sound best, in the higher frequencies. So I make that first, and then what part of the sound I want to make would sound better in the lower frequencies. I do that using another oscillator. If I have 3 oscillators, I'll split up my sound in 3 different ways. And of course, I have to add that I'm doing this when I'm building pads. And that's because when I do my music and I go in and fetch one of my pads, I might sometimes realize that, yeah, my track already has a lot of bass. I said bass, not bass. So if it does have a lot of bass in my track already and I just need a pad to fill stuff up, then I can easily just pull down the mixer or volume level for the oscillator playing the bass. And then I suddenly have a sound I can just work with, and I don't have to make anything from scratch. I can use what I have. So I always prepare for stuff in the future when I do my stuff. I say stuff a lot, don't I? Okay, so there's not much happening here now, and we're gonna go to that one. Just switch it down here, and we're gonna switch out the wavetable tables, the waveforms. Oh, that's sharp. That's a nice one. I really like that one. Yeah, okay, so let's continue with adding more modulation here. And this time we're going to use an LFO because I want whatever is happening with that oscillator to be consistent. That way I can also tie my sound into a rhythm or to a beat, so I can sync the oscillator, and so it will feel like as if the pad is in beat with everything else. So it's following a rhythm, even though I have layers on top that are producing some like unrhythmical and unpredictable stuff. I always like having my stuff feel as if it is in beat. I'm not that big on noise and stuff like that. I love listening to some stuff like that, but I can't make it myself because I have this inherent it's just in my blood to make stuff be at a tempo. 4 on the floor every day. I wanted to say 4 on the floor every door, but that doesn't make any sense, right? Okay, so let's keep on adding something. So we're gonna add an LFO to this. And we're going to pull up here, and we're gonna send that to, I'm just gonna stop the playback here, it's eating up my bandwidth. We're gonna send that to, where was I gonna send that? Oh, I wasn't sure. So we have this wavetable 2, and let's send that to the spectrum. We're gonna sync it. But what's happening, it's just too much. It's just too much right now. I just felt that was wrong. So what I'm going to do is just pull down the strength. In the meantime, I just saw a question made by Joe O'Hagan here in the chat. And he's asking if I ever work in different time signatures. He keeps wanting to try 7/8. Yes, I do. I grew up with a lot of people from Iraq in my hometown. So I heard a lot of Arabian music. So I've worked with other time signatures. It's only that when I do music, what feels best for me is usually a 4 on the floor. That's usually what feels best for me. Sometimes the waltz, because of my Swedish heritage and listening to folk songs and stuff like that. But sometimes like a 7/8 is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. It depends on the song. There are just some stuff I can't listen to because it's changing tempo all the time, and that just makes me unnerved and nervous, and I go bonkers over it. Basically, I get crazy and angry listening to stuff like that. So I just can't. I've been at these folk festivals sometimes where they play music from all over the world, and there's great music all over the world. But this one band one time that played something that was so wrong to me. They switched tempo with every beat almost. I had to go home and sit in a corner for an hour. Yeah, never mind. So let's see what we can make from this. It almost sounds a bit too static. Okay, so I'm gonna go against my principle here. Well, not really. You see, in Waldorf Nave, we have 2 wave players, and then we have like a cross modulation of them between wave play 1 and 2, and then we have an oscillator, it says. So it's a regular oscillator that we can turn on right here, and so I can use that one for the bass. And then we have like a cross modulation between the oscillator and wavetable 1. So it's so incredibly powerful. Like Waldorf's Nave is so incredibly powerful. It's so actually a bit of a veteran in app years. It is a bit of a veteran, but I still recommend it because it's so powerful. So instead of keeping wavetable 2 in tempo, we're going to get makes stuff more interesting. So what I'm going to do is, because I feel that the LFO is so static, I'm going to change the tempo of the LFO with LFO 2. So that's going to be evolving like all the time. And I think I'm going to use the sample and hold, which is also in some other places, you could call it randomizers. It basically samples a wave, holds it at a certain value, drops it, samples another wave, and holds it. That's why your values are going up and down like this when you're using a sample and hold or a randomized waveform for an LFO. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to load LFO 2, turn that on, and we're going to send that to LFO 1 speed. And now we're going to change, so that's going to change the speed for LFO 1. I can't really sample and hold. Not much is happening. Why? Maybe I need to turn this up. Wait. Let me turn off the sync. Am I doing something wrong here? I mean, I've done this before. LFO 1 is definitely controlling the LFO 1 speed. So what am I doing wrong here? Because it's not changing speed. Oh, it is. It is changing speed with every key press, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Of course it does. So that's one speed. And that's another one. Okay, so it is evolving as we're using it. So let's pull down on that a little bit. And the next thing we can do now is let's add some bass, not bass. Let's add some bass to this. And we're gonna pull down here. And here we have an oscillator. Yeah, I like that one. Now we don't have a sine wave. We could use a filter to filter it off, but in Nave, if we use the filter, then it's gonna filter off everything else too. So it would have been nice to be able to route the filters and the oscillators individually. So you could pass like wavetable 1, wavetable 2 through one filter and sorry. And then pass the oscillator just beside it or just straight out to the output. But we can't do that now. So we have a bass. Dry throat. I need something. By the way, I've got your chat window. I've got the chat window right in front of me on my iPad Mini 1 now. So instead of having to turn over and lift up my phone, I can just see everything you're writing right now. So that feels wonderful. I don't know why I haven't done that before. Okay, so we have some interesting movements going on now. I mean, it's not the most intricate pad I've ever done, but there are so much missing because it's so dry right now, and the sound I have in my head, it's much more affected by effects. So the first thing we're going to do is to remove some frequencies. And this is something I love with Nave. We go to the FX and ARP, and we have an equalizer here. So we're going to turn that on, and it's a 3-band equalizer. with a low pass, high pass, and a is it a band pass? No, it's a peak filter. Yeah, I think it's a peak filter. So if we go to the mid, yeah, it's a peak filter. It's not a band pass filter. So what we're going to do is we're going to up the Q point, because we're going to search for the frequency that we don't like. Ooh, you hear that? Right there, that frequency, it's kind of annoying, but it's also the main part of our sound. So I just want to cut this off, but what I have learned over the years is that I sharpen the Q point a little bit and I move it either down or up right before or right after that point, and then I cut the sound. And we're also going to remove some of the lows. Just like that. And let's turn on some delay. Okay. Starting to sound nice. And one of the strongest thing that Nave has actually is the reverb. It sounds really, really lovely. Now, I am far from done with this sound, but I thought that if you don't mind, let's make something else. Let's make bass. I love making bass with Nave because Nave makes all the bass sound crazy. And if there are any new viewers here that haven't seen my stuff before, if you might have missed it, I have made a sample pack for Nave in the past, and it is available as a download in that old episode. I've linked to the episode of the Nave playlist, and also with the Nave video, I think. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't, I forgot. But I think it's like episode haQ 64, I think, or something like that, with the Nave episode where I'm giving them away. And you basically get a link down in the description where you can go and download from a Dropbox from my Dropbox. You can download the presets and install them, and you can use like Audio Share or even Dropbox for that. Just unzip them and send them into Nave, and it will open up as a new bank saying haQ bass presets or whatever. So let's make some bass. All we have to know, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna call this haQ attaQ live. I have this Dropbox folder where I'm sharing like presets and other stuff. So when I do my next live stream, I'm gonna put a link in the description to that Dropbox, so you can go and grab this preset for Nave if you want. So yeah, I'm just saving this as number 1, and now we have it saved, and then I can export it later on when the stream is over. So let's just let's play. Let's press init sound, and we have a initialized sound. And for this, we need to go down. We need to go down. We need to go down. Oh. Not detune. What am I doing? Wait. Hold default value. I really wish that all developers did this double tap thing in every synthesizer or app or DAW so that you can reset values. I really wish all of them did that. Now with Nave you have to press down and hold, and this is also the way that you assign MIDI CCs. So you can assign CCs to everything in Nave, and so you can control it like a boss. And then you just hold down and then tweak your knob, and it's assigned. But it's also the same way you reset knobs, holding until this comes up, and then you press default value. Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's get a little travel in here. And Nave is so simple to make cool bass sounds with. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. I love that. And let's just switch out the sound here. So let's go through some different wave tables. Ooh. Okay, I love that. But instead of doing it with the travel, let's do it with the with an envelope, so that we can get it like jumping to a point and then going back to this bass note again. I like doing it like that. So we're gonna go to the no, this time we're not gonna use the matrix. We're gonna use the modulation slot right here. So just choose the free envelope, close it, turn it on, and we have to go to the envelope section and then make some adjustment. I'm getting no effect. Why am I getting no effect? Oh, Jakob, the amount knob. Oh, that's just lovely, just lovely. So let's do it like this. Let's pull up the sustain. It's so nice. But the thing is, the free envelope is so locked. I have no idea why they only gave like these different slope shapes, why they only did that to the amplifier envelope and to the filter envelope. I mean, why couldn't they just have put it in the free envelope too? I mean, it's really fun to use slopes and shapes like that for the release and the attack when you're modulating stuff too. So we're gonna switch out the modulator, and we're going to use the filter again, filter envelope. And see what we're doing here when we're using the sustain. So it's jumping up with the attack, and when it hits that edge, it drops down to whatever value we set the sustain to. And so when we do that, the sustain is controlling wherever this band, you know, where it lands for the wave traveler here. And it's too bad that they didn't make it visual, because it would have been nice to see that band actually move, especially for beginners. because that way you're realizing straight away that you're actually affecting something in the synthesizer and the way you're affecting it. So right now we're doing this and it's moving like this, and then it goes back again down like that. So yeah, that's I hope they do that. I hope they do fix that. Oh, look at this, it looks like a little landscape. I love working with Nave. It's so beautiful. It doesn't cost much either. If you haven't got it, go grab it. I did put an app link for that one down in the description. I know that. So let's make it interesting. The cool thing with having multiple envelopes to work with when you're modulating something is that you can tweak them so that each of them, like you have one starting with the attack, and then when it's moving down through the decay, like the signal is moving down through the decay, and before it hits the release, then you've set the time on the next envelope that is also working at the same time. You've set it so that it has a really long attack slope, so it starts really doing stuff when the other envelope, the first envelope, is running out of its time. Then the other envelope just picks it up right from there and continues moving. So we're gonna try doing that with this. I'm working with a bass sound now, and that's not optimal, but okay, we'll do that. So that's the sound we have right now. So let's go into the filter and envelope. And the only bad thing with Nave in this case is that it would have been so helpful to have a delay control for the envelope. Some synthesizers have that you can delay the attack of an envelope. So you press the key, but then a time has to go by before it even hits the first step, the attack, and start doing stuff. So we're not going to be able to do that here. But let's use the free envelope to continue where this one takes off. And so we actually have to use the matrix. So the free envelope, turn that on, up with the strength, and send that to the Wave Traveler 1. Oh, I held too long. Oh, come on, just reset for me, will you? Please. Nave, please, just... What's... Okay, never mind. Okay, so nothing is happening. Okay, so what am I thinking wrong now? I'm thinking something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. The free envelope is definitely affecting the wave travel knob. So why isn't it doing anything after this one stops? Okay, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do this instead. Let's do this. Did I turn it on? It is on. I can't hear any changes. Nope, I can't hear any changes, and I can't figure out why that is. The free... Come on. Why is this not... What? Okay, so I had it set to the wrong... I'm gonna set it to the position now, and... There we go. Okay, so the way we have it set now, the first envelope is really quick. And so the sound continues sounding out. And when this one is done, then we have the next envelope set, so it will continue doing stuff even after this envelope has hit. So we can get like a double feature here, double whammy. So first one hits, and then the next one, which is cool. And then we can do other cool stuff, such as moving this fader down. Okay, so it's not doing much, but it could be because of this thing. Come on. Okay, so let's move it up again then. But we do have some cool stuff going on. So let's use that free envelope again. Go to the wavetable thing, and then we start affecting the spectrum also. So let's use that free envelope. Okay, so let's change the attack a little bit. This is why I love Nave so much. It's simply because of the sounds it makes. Does this make sense? But it makes disgusting sounds sound really good. So yeah. Oh, hello, Bo. We got Bo from Bo Beats in the stream here again. That sounds absolutely lovely. So now we're starting to get somewhere. So let's add a little bit more bass with the other one. Let's turn this down, and we're going to choose another wavetable for this. It doesn't sound that fun right now. And to hear what it actually sounds like, we're gonna... Bo, you asked me if you should maybe, or you asked me and Andreas if you should get the iPad Pro. I saw that in the message, by the way. I'd never answer it, but yeah, you should get an iPad Pro, and then you should get like Nave, because it's one of the best wave player wave shaper synthesizers on the App Store. I messed that up, I know. It's especially good for bass. Okay, so here we go again. Since I said bass, here it comes, the boss bass, the bassy boss, and there he goes. Oh yeah, okay, so back to the matter at hand. We have to pull this down. Oh, come on, that just... Yeah, that sounds good. So let's see here. And they seem to be timed pretty well together. Let's add a bit of sub bass with the oscillator. Oh, 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 that sounds crazy. Oh. No, let's... Yeah, it sounds really good. So here comes the next thing that I love so much. Sorry, I'm hitting the camera there. I don't want to give you motion sickness. The next thing I love with Nave is the ability to just... The Uber. Oh, come on. It's German. So it's like a super wave. Never mind, just listen to this. I can't hear. Can I hear any difference? This is so weird. It almost sounds as if I'm getting mono here. Why is nothing happening here? Am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Oh, it sounds so good. I don't want to stop listening to it. Okay, so forget the Eber wave. It doesn't matter. What we're going to do now to really sculpt this bass sound, the next thing is using the equalizer. So let's go to the FX ARP, turn on the equalizer, and the first thing we're going to do is to remove stuff. To enhance something, we usually need to remove something. Many people, they start out by trying to add bass where there's a lack of bass. Don't do that. Just go in, look at your wave file, especially through a spectrum analyzer or something, and you'll see where there is lots of information. And usually you'll find some place to cut, and then everything else will be lifted forward. Lifted forward? That is a weird an analogy. And it's not an analogy, it's a weird phrasing. So let's go to the mid and make a sharp Q point, and then just turn it up. Yeah, okay, so this is my trick. This is what I usually do. Sharper, then go down. You hear that? You hear that? You hear what happens? It sounds more closed in and more of the bass goes out. That's what I usually do. And I keep some of the highs. Turn on the compressor. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's give it a bit of a reverb. Not too much, but like a really closed in space. Too much. Oh, I love that. That is lovely. Okay, I'll share this preset too in the next live stream on the Dropbox account. Now, I think Nave in itself, it's really, really good. It can make most sounds, pads, leads, bell sounds because of the wave table thing. If you can even put your own waveforms in here, so you sample something and then you send some short samples, really short, we're talking about a second or something, into this, and it will translate that into a wavetable. And you can use a voice or anything. You can even use a fart. Just make sure you clean your microphones, okay? But the thing is, it will just transform it into a waveform, and then you can play it the way you do everything else. So you can really expand your sound bank with your own stuff. Really powerful. So I think I've shown you what I want to show you with this right now. I mean, there's so much more to say, but I would like to go into Thor. If you have no problem with that, then I'd love to do that, actually. So, and by the way, I have done a preset bank with fart sounds. Not sampled farts, calm down. But I did make synthesized farts with Thor. And they're actually, the thing is, they're spectacularly good. They're spectacularly good. And if you go watch that episode, it's the dumbest damned episode I've ever made. And I almost regret making it. Almost. I kind of like those jokes. I'm a bit childish in my head. I can't help it. Hope I don't offend anyone with that, but I am childish. Go back and watch it. the preset sounds amazing, and they're free as a download. You can download them and study how to make your own farts with Thor. So I'm gonna save this one so that I can share with you in the next one. Let's see here. We call this haQ attaQ live bass. I didn't say bass. I said bass. And save that one. Did I save it? Yeah, I saved it. And so let's switch this off, and we're gonna open up Propellerhead's Thor. Now I've made videos with Thor. If you look at my channel, then you can see I've made so many videos with Propellerhead stuff in it. I think about 100 of my videos contains stuff from Propellerhead. I grew up, and I'm born and grew up here in Sweden, and Propellerhead is a Swedish company, and I've always loved their stuff. And now Rebirth is dead, and that actually does mean something for me. And I'll just state this: I understand Roland claiming property rights to like TB303 and TR909 and everything. I understand that. It still doesn't mean I'm not gonna hate them for killing Rebirth, because that's what they did. I'll probably never ever look at a Roland product because I'm so hurt, and that's stupid. Why would I get butthurt over something like that? Why? But I am, because I grew up with Rebirth, and Rebirth did so many awesome things for me. It literally changed the way I made music, and it also gave me access so that I could afford the sound of a TR909 and a 808. And why didn't just Roland buy that thing and, you know, supplied it with their new era units and their new TB303s? Why didn't they forget the rant? I'm sorry. So this is Propellerhead's Thor, and we're going to do some modulation. Now the cool thing with Thor, just as Nave, it's got a modulation matrix so that you can route stuff. So the same thing, it's drop down list, but instead of level faders, then you have these numbers right there. Yeah, so that's how you set your strength, and you can do this in positive values and in negative values. And this, look at this. I set down my finger, I pull away, and this thing becomes larger, and now I have a really nice scale to adjust my things to just the right number I want. Why doesn't every synthesizer utilize this system on iOS? I mean, some synthesizers are crazy. I've told the guys at Korg that some of the knobs, most knobs inside the gadgets in Korg, when, like, let's say you are in the insert effect slot. I know it's not a synthesizer, it's the compressor. And I want the threshold to be exactly 9.7. Go ahead, you try that yourself to get it to exactly 9.7. Just exactly. Pick any number. Try to get it exactly there. And you'll grow gray hair, just like I have, from trying to do that. It's not like I I'm not growing gray hair because of gadget. I've had gray hair for a long time. So in here, Thor contains most what you need to make basic sounds, lead sounds, bass sounds, even bell sounds. It's got FM synthesis in here, frequency modulations, and it's all in like modules. So if we open up Thor, I know this is starting to be more about the synthesizer than the actual modulation, but I just want to present this to you if you haven't used it. So when you go to the oscillators, you have an analog type, so you can make those 303E-ish things and the regular synth stuff. And then you also have the wavetable synthesizer. And when you're using these wavetables, then you're getting results more like Nave. And we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to show you that. And then we have the phase modulation, which is an awesome module. And we have the FM pair. So, and you can modulate that I almost swore there. You can modulate that stuff like crazy. Oh, it's so lovely. And then you have the multi-oscillator, which to me kind of sounds like it's got a very old sound to it, almost like a, maybe some people disagree with me, almost like a Juno sound. And then we have the noise, and this is awesome. It's a full noise module. I mean, Thor practically they ripped it out of Reason and put it on iOS. I mean, come on. It's really useful. So you have a band filter, I think it's a sample and hold filter, static filter, color filter, white filter, and then you have different values for 3 of these filters that you can use and set. So you can basically make any type of sound, even drum sounds. It's great for drum sounds. Mix some white noise oscillators with some 200 hertz quick pitched oscillator, twangy thingies, oscillators, and you have a snare that doesn't sound like something that actually exists. And then lastly, we have an off mode. That's kind of cool, but the thing is, you don't need an oscillator to make sound in Thor. No, you just have to pull up the resonance. Ooh, ooh. And it starts singing because it's self-oscillating. You can turn that off with a function. So, and when we go to the filter section, then you have a low pass ladder, you have a state variable filter, you have a comb filter, which is awesome. You have my most favorite filter, and that's the formant filter. So you can really make some vocal stuff. It's so incredibly powerful. And then you have all these routing matrices. So there are 3 different types of windows when you want to modulate stuff. So in this window, then you choose one source, one destination, and the scaling. You have a scaling option that can that everything else will adhere to. So you can, for instance, get the LFO to modulate, let's say, the filter, and then you can put the keyboard in the scale, and it will follow the keyboards and set the parameter for which within the LFO will. I'm making no sense. I'm sorry. But it's really cool. In the next one, you have one source, 2 destinations, and the scale mode. And then you have, in this one source, 1 destination, and 2 scale modes. Awesome. And you can clear them quite simply by pressing clear. So it's very straightforward. Plus, you have a step sequencer in here. And you can use the step sequencer knobs in several different windows here to modulate stuff inside the synthesizer by routing everything from the step sequencer to those things. The only negative thing to say about like Thor, the only negative thing I have to say about Thor is that I would need more space in the matrix. I want more rows in here. I want another page. I want to do crazy stuff. So let's see here. I have a few patches. Oh, I don't, because this is my iPad Pro. I have it on the iPad Mini 1. Okay, never mind. Do I? Oh, I do. Oh, here we have my fart sounds. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So don't worry. Let's start by trying to make a similar bass sound that we did inside Nave. Now we had 2 envelopes working in tandem. So one started and then the other one took over. And so we're going to open up and choose the wavetable one, because that was what we were using inside Nave, because it's a wavetable synthesizer. So in that sense, you could say that Thor is much more versatile and more varied. You can make more sounds with it since you have all these other synthesizer modules. So it's really a big toolbox where you can make any type of sound you want. However, it is limited when it comes to the actual FX processing thing. And so in that space, Nave really shines. With the equalizer, it sounds awesome. The reverb sounds awesome. The delay, I find the delay to sound a bit better than it does in Thor. So when I'm using Thor, I usually add effects from outside. So let's choose that one, and then let's choose another wavetable. And here is also another thing that we have in Thor that we don't have in Nave. We can use 3 different wavetable synthesizers. Only then we won't have that oscillator. So let's let's do what Nave does. Wavetable OSC, and then choose the analog one for like the one in Nave. Now, the wavetable OSCs aren't that versatile as Nave, because Nave is a wave shaper synth, so, you know, it has more waveforms and more wavetables, and you can't put your own wavetables inside Thor. Sorry, but you can't, and that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. I have a feeling that Propellerhead isn't going to incorporate that anytime soon, but, you know, we can always hope. So let's choose a waveform in here. Let's go with this. And let's pull down on the octave. Okay, I don't like that one. Let's go and take something else. Yeah, mixed wave. Oh, listen to that. Okay, so we have more windows in here. So if we expand this one, we get to the modulation window. We expand this one, we have the filter. This one, we have the oscillator. And this can be a bit confusing when you're a beginner, but you'll get into it as long as you just keep on using it. And this one is also ridiculously cheap, just like Waldorf Nave. So it's another synthesizer I do recommend that you get, and you can find a link down in the description. So in the last page here, we have the effects and the global envelope, and also LFO 2. There are two LFOs, global envelope, a filter envelope, an amplifier envelope, and a modulation envelope. So there are actually 3 and 4 envelopes that we can use inside Thor. That's one more than Nave has. And we are going to use the modulation envelope to modulate the position, the wavetable position. Oh, listen to that. Okay, so let's go into the routing. And we open up the source here, and we're going to send this modulation envelope. We're going to send that to oscillator 1 and to the mod. I'm thinking the volume is yeah, it's a bit low. Let me fix that. I'm going to the knobs. No. Yeah. That's a bit better. And we're going to choose the low pass filter. Oh, I just realized that the form and filter was exactly what made that sound so cool. So we got to keep that form and filter. And then we're going to modulate it. Okay, I want that position knob to do exactly that. So, okay, I need to make it work in reverse. Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds sounds awesome. It's almost a bit farty, isn't it? Let's oh, okay, so we're gonna turn that off, and you also have a mixer here. So you have a mix level between a balance between oscillator 1 and 2, and then for number 3 it has got its own channel. But then when it comes to the filters, you can actually port them a bit like the way you want. So if I want to send oscillator 1 into filter 2, then I just have to activate this button, which is awesome. But I'm gonna send it in here, and I'm gonna send number 2 in here, and now I'll turn the knob over with the balance over, so we can only hear this wavetable oscillator. And we're gonna choose the mixed waves 3. And we're going to use the same modulation envelope. I realized I could have just loaded it here, because here we can have 2 destinations. So let's do that. Let's choose the modulation envelope there, and then oscillator 1 mod, and then oscillator 2 mod, and then it was -61, so we're gonna turn it to -61 like that, and it's 62. Okay, and I was just praising how detailed you could get this, but yeah, so clear that one. Ooh. Let's turn it down. Oh, okay. But then we wanted another envelope to just keep on going after the first one has hit. So we're going to go to the routing again and choose, this time we're going to choose the filter envelope. And here we have to be cautious now, because inside Thor, on the filters, you actually have knobs for controlling how much the velocity affects it, the placement of the keyboard keys, the way you play it. So if you turn this knob up for the keyboard, then the higher you go up on the keyboard, the more the filter is going to be opened and stuff like that. And it's same thing with the envelope. It's tied directly to the envelope, so you don't actually have to route that filter envelope to the filter. It's already routed through this knob, so all you have to do is turn that up. And you can also make it work in the reverse, so you just have to press it so it's in reverse. But now we have the filter envelope, and we want the filter envelope to keep on working on the position knob here. And we need to route it to oscillator 1, oscillator 1 mod, and then oscillator 2 mod. And here we have a little issue. So let's see here. We go into that. This is so confusing sometimes. So right now, those settings are affecting the settings for the position knob. So it's kind of resetting what we've already done. So we need to delay that in some way. And in this case, we can't delay the filter, the amp envelope, but we can delay the modulation envelope. So if we want this to work, we're going to have to move what we've done with the modulation envelope so that this one hits, later on in the time span of the key press, and that the filter envelope is the first one that works and does the thing it's supposed to do. So let's up the delay. Yeah, there it goes. But I also need to bring up the sustain so we have a continuous sound. Okay, so let's pull that down, and it actually tells you in seconds how much time you're giving it. So when we go down here, it tells you in milliseconds. And now we have the same type of modulation effect that we had with Nave. So one envelope doing its thing, and when it's done its thing, the next one just starts. But in this case, we can actually delay the effect of that signal, which is much cooler. Now imagine having a synthesizer where you have like 6 envelopes, and you can delay the time for all of them. So you can have one envelope with one setting at one time, and then the next one another different shape, and then the next one with a different shape, and they all start when the first one has stopped. Like the first one goes and then the next one, and it keeps on going like that. So imagine doing that for a pad. It keeps on ever evolving, just ever evolving. Now I'm thinking, is there a synthesizer that does that? There is this one synthesizer that I have been unable to use. I'm gonna save this one, and I'm gonna share this with you in the next stream with the Dropbox account. If I will remember it. I will remember it. It's already documented in this one. So I'm gonna switch synth now. So let's call this attaQ live bass. Good. I can see that someone said layer. The thing is, you know, everyone loves layer. I love layer too. But I become so frustrated working with it because of the interface. I haven't befriended the interface yet. You see, the guy who made it, he contacted me some time ago. He gave me code for it, and I was planning on reviewing it, but I never did because I just haven't befriended it yet. I like it. I want to be able to like to work with it, but at the moment I don't. I feel hampered by the way that I have to interact with it. So I am using it a little bit every day, and I have since a month back. I have been using it a little bit every day. I just need more time, everyone. I'm sorry, but I can't do layer right now. That would just be too frustrating for me. But I have another idea. So let's close down Thor. Now there is this synthesizer I haven't been able to use. I wonder if I have it here. Yeah, it's Zeta. It's this one. It's a Cakewalk synthesizer. Wow, that was loud but lovely at the same time. I mean, it is lovely. This one is extremely powerful. The reason why I couldn't use this was because the interface is so unfriendly in some ways. I mean, it's basically a port from desktop right over here. I mean, Thor was too, but look what they did with it. With the way that you can get some intricate controls over values by holding, dragging out. You see a slider and you know where you are. You can. This one is different. It doesn't feel like that. Like, for instance, let's take the octave here. And I want to slide the octaves. And look, I don't know if you can see that, but it's jumping from -5 to, it's going like mad. So you actually have to tap it. And if I over tap, I want like +3, and I over tap to +4, then I have to go around again just to get it right. Some of these minor things inside Zeta makes me crazy. So that's why I haven't used it. Wow, that's loud. I mean, you have to admit that they did put a killer preset right at the beginning. When you open it up and this is the first thing you hear, I mean, that's inspiring. I see a lot of developers putting out their apps with no presets in them. If there are any developers watching this, don't do that. Even if you can't pay someone to do it, I get it. Sometimes you're just poor. I know how that feels like. I mean, I know what that feels like. But you should like ask someone, can you please make some preset? There should be something in your app when you open it up. You don't want to be opening like a Nebula Rasa. Okay, I would. I actually like it. I actually like it opening up and there's nothing there. But for users, everyone else, there should be something to direct them or get started. And this, it's a killer. It's an instant killer. There's so much happening in that patch. And one of the cool things with Zeta is that you can load your own MIDI files right into the modulation ARP section. So this is a MIDI file. I mean, that's awesome. And it's so infinitely useful. It's a really useful thing. Now, I've spent so much time trying to like this synthesizer, and I do, but working with it is horrible. So let's try to make a bass sound. Okay, I said bass, so here he goes. Here he goes again. Here comes Mr. Oh, it's a boss. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him go. It might be a she. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what gender it might be, and it really doesn't matter. But it's a thing now, I guess. I actually tried out some different animations for it. I'm gonna try to have it talk, kind of like Ami did back in the days when I was using Ami. And to everyone out there, the reason why I'm not using Ami is because it is it's a symbol for a faith. And I've had, you don't know this, but I've had a lot of emails about that thing. So angry people. And the thing is, I don't care that much. But just to make it simple, I removed Ami. That's why I removed Ami, if anyone is wondering. It's I don't want to start something that could lead to some stupid scandal even. I've seen stuff grown from someone doing something little small on a YouTube channel, and then it grows up to like a government level. It gets like out of hand. I've seen that happen, and I'm not into that. I just want to make music, so that's why Ami is gone. But I'm gonna bring back someone else, and Mr. Fish there might be a great contender. What do you think? Maybe it's a good idea. I've got a few voices for it that I'm gonna try out, so maybe I'll have it talking quite soon. The first thing we're going to do is to look for an initialized presets. And why is this empty? Why is it empty? It shouldn't be. Okay, so we can press initialize. Okay, let's do that. No sound? Oh. Okay. So I can't even remember how to use this one. Oh, come on. I can't even remember how to use this. So let's choose a waveform here. And we're going to grab a square waveform. An octave square vintage pulse. I love this. And let's go down in octave, and we have to tap it. And the cool thing is that we have 6 places where we can put oscillators or waves in. So the next one, we're gonna choose another waveform. And oi. Oh. That sounds absolutely lovely. Well, at least in my ears. So you can send it to 2 different filters, just like you can in Thor. Only it's you have a fader with either filter 2 or filter 1. So let's send it to filter 1, and let's choose a 36 decibel octave low pass filter. Now that's a sharp filter. Ooh, are you getting that sub? Ooh, I love that. Love that. So let's add another one, and we're gonna send this one to filter 2. And let's make this an additive thing. And now we're gonna start modulating stuff. And the cool thing is that we have the modulation sources right down here. So we have 6 LFOs and we have 6 envelopes. Very cool. And this is why I opened up the synthesizer. Like the envelopes all have delay times. So that thing I talked about, we can do that here. So let's try. So we want to modulate different things now. And also another thing is you can do different shapes, just like in Nave, for the attack, the decay, the sustain, and release. This is one of the most powerful synthesizers when it comes to the envelope type things you can do inside or on iOS. So if you got Nave, if you got Thor, and if you got Zeta, then you're pretty much full up with stuff. You're full with stuff, and you don't really need many other synthesizers in that aspect. But remember, if you've seen the episode I did like the day before yesterday about waveforms, and we were looking at oscillators, if you haven't seen that, I suggest you watch it because it's really interesting. Then you know that each synthesizer has their own sound to it, especially like digital synthesizers. So the reason why I get new synthesizers is because of the way they look and the way I can interact with them. And sometimes they have some new stuff in there, the way they work, the way you tie LFOs into something, and also the sound of the thing itself, because every developer puts what they think sounds the best into their creations. And that's why no synthesizer really sounds like another one. Maybe they can make sounds that another synthesizer can, but they still have that own unique flair to them, which is why I get a load of synthesizers. And the only reason why I'm not doing that when it comes to hardware synthesizers is I like having a small setup now, but if we take that out of the picture, I'm basically poor. So if I had more money, I would fill up my room. I'm in my bedroom, by the way. I would fill up this bedroom. I would remove the bed and fill it up with synthesizers. You can believe that if you want. Don't believe that. I wouldn't do that. That would mean that I would have to force my girlfriend to sleep on a Moog or something, or maybe something else. I mean, I wouldn't mind sleeping on an Ovation like the big Nova. I don't know how we got here, but we're gonna continue doing something here now. So let's try to modulate something. And here comes the next thing. I can't remember how to route this. This is so good. How do I route this again? Let's see here. Go into the modulation section. It's got drop-down list. That's right. It's got drop-down list. And this thing works like it does in Nave. So we choose, we're going to choose envelope generator 1. And then you have a range. So it's not like Nave. It's not like Nave. This is more like unique by sugar bytes. You can set a range for where you want the modulation signal to work in between. So if you do it like this, then the signal will work for all the way from the beginning to the end. So it will go from the maximum value to the minimum value, or the other way around. But then you can also set it to more like this. And so if you have a knob and you set it like this, now we set it to work in the middle, then the knob will move like this. And that's something you will understand instantly if you start using sugar bytes unique, which is the fourth synthesizer I would recommend you buy. Yeah, because of the modulation. You can modulate a lot more stuff without one than this. So much that if you have an older type iPad, you could crash it. I mean, you could fill it with modulations. Each and every knob, you can modulate everything. However, you cannot have two different modulators on the same knob. So that's a limitation. As I said, all synthesizers has their own tweaks and quirks and sounds to them. So those are 4 synthesizers that I recommend to anyone to get. And then you're pretty much full up on synthesizers. So let's send this envelope generator to destination. Yeah, what destination? So let's choose one of the oscillators. And then we have 6 oscillators, or we can affect all oscillators. And I want to do that. So let's do that. All oscillators, and we're going to affect the wave shaper. And you see all this? You see all this? This is crazy. This is crazy. So we actually are going to have to go back to the synth. And I know this is too small, so you might not be able to see this. But what it says here is in page A, we have 3 pages for every page. For the wave shaper, it's a wave shaper. It's like Nave. So in page A, we have warp, twist, drive, window, offset, and wave. And in page B, we have bit reduction, shrink, sync, multipoint, low pass filter, high pass filter. And in C, we have fold, spectrum, random 1, random 2. Crazy load of modulations we can do here. So let's choose page B and the bit reduction. Go back into the mod section. Go into the oscillators, all oscillators, wave shapers, and then bit reduction. And so now we are using envelope 1 to affect all of the oscillators, and the bit reduction on all wave shaper oscillators. Yeah. Yeah, the real dot sheet says also that Unique is still acting way too sluggish on the iPad Pro 9.7. I have the iPad Pro 12.9, and the thing is, sometimes I do get stuck pages. I thought that would be fixed with the last update, but they're probably gonna fix it in the next one. And sometimes it can run sluggish, and it also depends on how much modulation you have going on. I mean, I have an iPad Pro, the big one, and I have made patches where it really just it starts to sag. So yeah, it's possible to go all out with that synth, so you can actually crash the app. You can, that's not fun, but it's pretty cool that you can do that. I kind of did it on purpose at one time or another, just because I can, you know. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Nothing is happening. The bit reduction is doing nothing. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to choose a curve. We have different curves for this too. I mean, the intricate stuff you can do with Zeta is just crazy. It's actually called Z3TA+. It's from Cakewalk, if you're wondering. I didn't put a link to it in the description because initially I thought I wasn't going to do this. I decided on doing it right before I started, but I will fill in a link in the description as soon as this live stream is over and the video goes up. So let's choose a linear slope. And the bit reduction isn't doing anything. Let's choose something that we know does something. So we go into the oscillators, no, not oscillator one, all oscillators, and wave shaper, and the twist. Okay. Oh, we're in the wrong envelope. Envelope 1. Why is nothing happening? Oh, well, we also have another set of controls we can add to this. So we can have the velocity control, the jeez. If you start exploring this synthesizer, you're going to realize quite quickly that it can take some time to tweak patches in this one, but it's also very detailed, so there's so much you can do. And why am I getting no... Okay, I'm gonna set this to oscillator 1 just to make sure that I am actually doing something. Warp. Let's go back here. Why is not... Why is nothing happening? What am I doing wrong this time? Velocity, no. I don't really want anything. Oh, you also have MIDI-CC values here. You can control... Oh, this is how you set MIDI-CC values. I've never really been down here and checked. Oh, so that's how you do it. So you can do that. That's awesome. Sorry, I didn't know that. Why is nothing happening? Okay, let's do this then. Turn off this one. Turn off this one. Maybe we're just not hearing it. I'm not getting this. Okay, something is happening. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to use the next envelope. I had too many oscillators going on at the same time, and I just didn't have the slope right or anything. So we're going to tweak the next one to do something similar. Only this time, we are going to delay it. So we're going to go into the mod op section and choose envelope generator 2, and then have it affect everything here. Choose a bilinear, use the velocity, and then send that to oscillator 1, wave shaper, warp again, and come on. Are they adding up now? What's happening? Oh, the amount. Could that be it? That's annoying to listen to. So I'm not making this work. But I know I've done this before. So what am I doing wrong now? The problem with live streams. And it does hurt a little bit whenever I hit something like this and I have no idea what I'm doing. But then again, it's important for everyone to see that I'm just human. And even though I've been doing this almost my whole life, my whole life, I've been working with music and synthesizers, I still do these newbie mistakes, always. And many times when I've sat down and tried to record a video, I've forgotten to turn on the phone and actually hit the record button. I've done that so many times. I've sat here, talked through, done a tutorial for 20 minutes straight, and then I realize the camera's off. Keep doing it. I never learn. Same with this, it seems. So why am I not making this work now? I can't figure it out. What I'm trying to do is to get this first envelope to activate the warp knob inside here, and then when that one is done, I want the second envelope to take over and continue doing the next thing, and then I want to set number 3 to do the same thing, and that's what I want to do. So we have a continuous thing happening within our, from the time that we press the key to the time that we let the key go. Okay. Okay, so it's happening. It is happening. But why aren't we hearing what number 1 is supposed to do? I can't figure it out. I don't know why it's not doing anything. This is weird. So instead of just getting stuck here, I'm gonna switch out again, and I'm gonna end this live stream pretty soon because I feel that it has been going on for quite some time. I just wanted to do a little longer live stream today because a lot of people told me yesterday that they missed it and they want to be able to catch the live ones. I am also planning to do some in the mornings here in Sweden. When it's morning, it's usually like late evening time down in the US and stuff. That's pretty interesting. I took a look at the viewer statistics, and it looks like 33% of my viewers, or the viewers of this channel, comes from or viewing from the US, and then after that it's the UK with what was it, like 15% or 16%, and then after that it's Germany, after that it's was it France or something like that? I can't remember all the numbers, but it was quite interesting watching that. So, and then I also found some other countries, like, I don't know what unknown is, what that's supposed to be. Maybe they're watching from the moon or something. Have no idea. I wish that YouTube would tell us. Maybe they're watching from another dimension. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe a dimension made out of cheese. That would be cool. That would be cool. Wondering what they usually watch over at Cheeseland. By the way, have you seen my my fish, my pet fish? So I am feeling a bit tired. This is the third live stream I've done this week, and I was initially thinking I was going to do one tomorrow too. However, I need that day off. I need to plan for next week because I want to put up some proper haQ edited proper haQ episodes, at least 2 of them, and I want them to be really interesting. One short and one longer. I have a few things in mind, so I want to prepare for that, and I also want some time off to go play some games. I do miss playing Fallout. Haven't done that in a while. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you have any questions, I'm gonna stay up for a little while. So if you have any questions, just ask them, and I'll have a look in the in the chat section. But I'm gonna end this, and I might end this with some presets that I made for Thor. So I'm just gonna warn you. I am gonna play a few of my fart presets. So I'm warning you right now. If you do not like that type of thing, then you can drop out right now. I'm watching the viewer count. I'm expecting everyone to just leave. So I'm gonna play some fart sounds from Thor that I've made because they're quite intricate. So you've had the warning. This is the final warning. Fart sounds, I'm going to play them. They're not real farts. They're synthesized farts. I'm going to play them. And so here we go. I'm going to go into the fart inbox. And here we have the biker butt. Ooh, that couldn't almost not be heard. So let's gain it up a bit here. And let's go to the keyboard and volume. I hope I've warned everyone enough now, so please don't get angry with me for playing farty sounds. Let's go higher up. Okay, it's even higher. There's an yeah, it's got a funny ending, this one. Wow, that's just crazy. Ooh, that's crazy. And then we have the booty bubble. It's very defined, very defined. It's just right there. And then we have the bowel movement. Okay, that doesn't really sound like a real fart, but you know, it's got movement in it. Then we have bubble pot. I mean, it's pretty crazy what you can do with a synthesizer. It's amazing. Flat electric is another one. That actually does sound like a real fart. It's kind of disgusting. It's oh my god, what am I doing? I've done an episode like this before where I'm just playing those sounds, and I did get some angry like personal messages on YouTube for that, and someone thinking that I'm a child and stuff. And you know, I don't have a problem with people thinking that I'm a child. I don't care. But of course I don't want to make people angry. So that's why I was warning you in the beginning there. So I hope that no one starts this and then skips to this position and they happen to be really sensitive when it comes to this kind of thing. Then we have like poopy doopy. That's a nice one. Nice ending. And this one is also, it's got that little jump at the end. Ooh. That's kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, I like that one. And then we have, I made this one to simulate what I think that my girlfriend sounds like when she farts. Okay, so if you have any questions, just ask them in the comment section and I'll get to them. Otherwise, I feel like maybe I've been streaming for too long. If I think that this is a good idea, then maybe I should just abort the stream. Wow. If you follow me on Twitter, you should follow me on Twitter. I'll take a picture of this juice. I don't know if they sell it in any other country, but if you see this juice, you should grab it and just try it out and tell me what you think. Also, if you follow me on Twitter, please send me pictures of your setups and link to your songs and stuff, because I want to see what you do. I mean, especially if you're watching my shows, if you're watching my videos, especially if you felt like you've been helped by an episode in solving something, then getting a tweet or something with a short video or a picture or something, and you talking about what it is that you solved, is just infinitely, it's like pure power for me. Not power, it's pure energy for me. I feel energized by that. I just love seeing that what I'm trying to do, helping others, is working. And I also love seeing people being creative, because that way I'm also being more creative. I need to refill my creative banks all the time. And so if you're creative, just show it to me, send me pictures. And also, if you have a favorite type of like ecological brand of juice, apple juice, send me pictures of that on my Twitter account. You can find a link to my Twitter down in the description. Right, so I'm gonna end the stream now. I can't see any questions, so I am going to stop the stream. And before I do that, I'm gonna go to this little page here. Let's see here. And say thank you so much for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. I've also got a Patreon page, so if you want to support me in that way, if you like what I do, if you find value in the content, then why not sign up there? If you don't want to do that, you can do like a one-off donation using PayPal. Didn't put the link inside here. I didn't put that there, but it's in the description. Okay. So if you don't want to do PayPal or Patreon, then sharing my videos is infinitely helpful. And what more? Yeah, you could subscribe if you want. That also helps with the ratings, but only if you want to. Same with the thumbs up, only if you think that my videos deserve it. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I hope you have a really productive week and a weekend and everything. And if you do have pictures of stuff to show me, then just send it on my Twitter account. Just follow me there. Just do that. I also do these short tutorials, 2 minutes long, because Twitter only allows for 2 minute videos. I call them Twitter quickies. I do put compilations here on YouTube, but it usually takes a month before I do that. So if you follow me there, you'll be able to take part of that. And also, if you ask me questions that I feel I might be able to answer or make tutorials of within 2 minutes, I will make a Twitter quickie. So your question could be the next one I make a Twitter quickie of. So follow me there. Otherwise, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. I'm gonna end this up with Mr. Bass or Mrs. Bass, wherever it might be. So bye everybody. Have a nice day. Bye.